Hi guys, so today we're going to be replacing the power steering fluid in this Lexus ES350.
How to do it. Let me show you how to do it.
This is a 2008 year ES350 and I've never changed the power steering fluid, and this is right here. This is the reservoir for the power steering fluid, and as you can see by the condition, it's pretty bad. So we're gonna go ahead and drain this thing out and replace it. So the oil that we're gonna be using is this particular one. I know it says automatic transmission fluid, but believe it or not, this car takes the transmission fluid, and this is the one that you're supposed to be using, the Dextron 5, or just make sure you're using the right one, and this one is the right one. So we're gonna go ahead and get everything out. The process is very simple. Basically, you drain this whole thing out, and this is your high pressure hose, this is your low pressure hose. So basically this is where the pump is kind of pushing it back into the reservoir, and this is how it's feeding it, so the in and out basically. We're gonna go through the process. Okay, so the very first thing I'm doing is I'm getting everything out of this reservoir. So I'll show you what I'm using, and this is a hand pump. This is a vacuum pump, basically, is by Mighty Vac, and I'll leave a link in the description below. But this is also used for brake bleeding and stuff like that, and you have multiple purpose for this thing. But basically what it does is it creates a vacuum like this, and then it has a lot of suction, so it's going to suck everything out into this bottle, and then you can get rid of the fluid. So push it in all the way and start. There you go. You can see all the oil is coming out. It's tube right there, because that tube is still holding the fluid. So once you try to move the bottle out, it just spills everywhere. So, but it's hard. Go ahead and loosen this caps and get everything from the tube in there. And just dump this fluid out. And we're going to repeat the process until everything is out from there. Okay, what I'm doing next is removing this reservoir, and there are 3 bolts, 10 millimeter, one over here. There's 1 bolt over here and 1 over here. I've already removed them. Once you remove it, it kind of comes loose. And there are 2 hoses. Let me get this out of the way. There are 2 hoses right here, here and here. So I kind of just moved the clip out of the way. You can see the clip was right here, and I also moved the clip from here to over here, so I can remove this. So you can just go ahead and remove the hose. So I already removed one of them, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the other one. One other trick is you want to hold it with a plier and just kind of wiggle it left and right, and it will at least come loose from, so it will turn like this. As you can see, at least it's turning. So now you can just nice and gentle, pry it out, and then we're gonna go ahead and clean this. It's important to clean it because there's a lot of gunk in there if you haven't done this in a long time, so always a good idea. And then we're gonna go ahead and start the flush process. Is the high pressure hose, and this is the one that's fitting basically the output, and this is the input. So now we know how to drain the oil. So this is where we're going to feed the oil, and this is how we're going to extract the old oil. Okay, next thing you want to do is put your car on jack stands, and the reason we want to do that is because we're going to be turning the steering wheel left and right to pump the oil out. Another thing I did was I wash this thing really good. That's the best I could do. And you know, as long as you hose it down really well with the water hose, and you know, just make sure all the water is out, there's nothing left in there, and just put it in the sun for an hour or so, and it's going to dry out. That's the best way to do it. But if you don't want to do that, you can also just clean it with brake oil and brake fluid cleaner, or the brake cleaner basically, and then just dry it out, and that's pretty much it. So I did both. You know, I cleaned it with the brake cleaner first, and then I hosed it down, and we're just gonna wait. Okay, so got my old pipes out. These are the hoses. You can see a lot of cracks. This one had a lot of cracks right here. So I got the replacement, and these are good, no cracks in them at all. This was like $7 for both of these, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the installation. So let me show you guys real quick how I removed them. So this is the one that is for the short one. The long one is all the way down there, and I removed the wheel, and here's your water pump, and this is where it connects to, right below the water pump. And you may want to put some rag there. Now what I did was I sucked out a lot of fluid from the hose before I pulled it off, because I knew there's going to be a lot of fluid in there sitting in that pipe. So I just you know, used a vacuum, same vacuum thing that I showed you guys earlier. I just used that and sucked it out with the tube into that small bottle, and just pulled it out and came out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace those, put the new hoses in, and put that canister back in, fill it up, and then let it just suck it in pretty much, you know, and you just have to keep filling it up, and that would be the best way to do it. And just make sure if you have any oil spill. I did have some over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean all that stuff. So because I think some of them might have fallen on the belt, so I'm gonna have to clean all that up. So again, be very careful when you're doing this job so you don't make a mess like I did. Okay, my new clamps are in. So one tip I'm going to give you is, once you're installing this, there is also a clamp that kind of holds this hose. Let me see if I can show it to you guys. Hopefully you guys can see it right there. Let me see if I can tap on it, and there you go. So there's a clamp right here that pretty much holds this hose, and it's very easy to put it in. It wasn't honestly too bad. I kind of feed it from the top, and then you know, I kind of put my hand through from the wheel well, and I was able to install it with the clip. So I put this clip, this one is more sturdier and more, you know, durable, so I don't really trust this other type of clip, even though they work fine. But since I'm replacing it, you know, I end up using that to hold that hose. So again, everything is done over here. Just make sure you clean everything up, don't leave any droplets or anything like that. Make sure there's nothing on your belt or pulleys or anything like that, no oil. So now on top, what I did was put the reservoir back. It's empty right now. I did flush it with the fresh new fluid, rinse it, and, you know, pretty much throw that out, let it bleed, you know. So now here what I did was, I have a clear tubing and I'm blocking this side off. I'll tell you guys in a second why. So this side is all blocked off. You're gonna put this big hose in there. So the big one is basically the feed that goes into the power steering rack, and this is kind of return. So this hose comes back, and I'm going to try to get all the liquid out from here and keep filling this one up with the fresh brand new fluid. And as I do that, I'm going to see, you're going to start seeing new fluid coming out. So this is empty. There's nothing over here. So we're going to fill it up with brand new fluid. That's why you want to tap it off, because if you don't block this guy off, I'm just using a clear tubing and I'm just holding it tight. This way it will not drain out from here. And once you start seeing brand new fluid coming out of here. This is where you know that, hey, everything is nice and clean, everything is flushed through the system, and then now it's coming out, and that's when you can stop. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this hose and I'm gonna put it into the bucket, and this is where I'm gonna drain it, and I'm gonna have somebody go in there and turn the steering wheel left and right. That will pump all the fluid out, and then I'm going to make sure I fill this up. So before I do anything, I'm going to top this off. Okay, so this is all the way up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the steering rack from left to right. You don't need to turn the engine on. And what that is going to do is pump out the fluid from this end out to the bucket. So, and as you can see, since we blocked it off, there's nothing coming out from this end, which is what we want. And meanwhile, you can check on the bottom to make sure there's nothing leaking. And I confirm there's no leak. Now, since my car is up on the jack, I don't really need to worry about anything else. Just right here. But thanks to my son for helping me turning the steering wheel. Now I think it's just a matter of putting these hoses again back up, and then putting everything back to normal. So if you have any overfill in here, that's completely okay. You can remove it from turkey baster. I don't think I'm gonna need it. Okay, so not bad. So let me see if I can handle this. So nothing is coming out from here, which is good. Now this is gonna be a pain because you have to put your finger right there. As soon as you remove it, put your finger right there. I'm gonna get rid of this. Ready to put this hose into right here. And as you can see, since I had a paper towel right there, it didn't really cause a mess, and you just push it in, and that's it. We are done with the power steering fluid flush, and now we can start the car, run it, and make sure to put this clamp on and run the car, turn it left and right a few times, and check the fluid to make sure it did not drop down. Or if it does drop down, then you may want to top it off. So that's it, guys. This is the end of the power steering fluid flush. Make sure you top it off. Mine is already topped off at max. And just wipe everything off. Make sure you remember to put your reservoir for the coolant here. Don't forget that. If you have any oil spills, clean that out. And that's it, guys. Hopefully this video helps you guys replace your fluid on your Camry, on your ES350, and help you replace the hose if you have a bad one. And guys, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.